on paper, like it didn't make sense. Um, but when you started diving into the community, you started diving into the facilities, you started diving into the school itself. Leesburg gets a bad rap for no reason at all. Um, and that's one thing that I want to change is Leesburg's not a bad school. Leesburg is an incredible school with incredible people, incredible staff. Miss Pyatt's coming in there and she is doing an amazing job. And as more people buy into her vision, the school itself will change. And one of the things that I love is I have the freedom as a coach, within the necessary means to be able to affect change. And that's one thing that when I came in, I said, we're going to establish a culture.
What's up, guys? This is Kash, Shaikh, Chairman, CEO, and co-founder of Baseball United, the first professional baseball league in the history of the Middle East and South Asia. And you're watching the Legends on Deck podcast with my boys, Brian Koss and David Conde.
Welcome to episode 105 of the Legends on Deck podcast. I'm Brian Koss, along with my co-host, David Conde. And today's guest is the head coach of Leesburg High School here in Central Florida, Seth Doxey. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Well,
You bet.
appreciate you being here. And Brian, it feels like I think we just had an episode maybe a couple weeks ago, right? And since it's the off season, I feel like we're on the slow mode like everybody else in baseball. We're kind of like taking it easy before.
Yeah.
And this is probably the best time for us to have episodes, but we've been so busy that we
I know.
just can't like get back on the show quick enough.
The holidays were busy, but now here we are, and we're just talking off air, and we're right at the doorstep of high school baseball season. So
No, it's crazy.
makes it makes this episode important.
Exactly. Well, Seth, we like to get started with kind of knowing about you, where the game started for you, with what age did you pick up a baseball and realize that this is a game you want to play, and then just kind of bring us along that little journey to from youth to adult. Like, how did baseball play in your life?
Man, I joke around and say I was born with the ball in my hand. The as long as I can remember, I had some older brothers, and they did their due diligence and trying to we'll just call it toughening me up. And it was just sports it was our lives. We were at a field or a court at every night of the week, other than Sundays or Wednesdays, and those were church nights. And I can remember growing up playing little league, and then we kind of got to the age of 12, and you have that great split of travel ball versus Babe Ruth. And my family we went the Babe Ruth route, and my parents were pretty adamant that hey, we're not gonna play baseball on Sundays. It's Lord's Day, and it took me a while to appreciate that. Now that I'm a parent, I appreciate it a little bit more. Sundays are reserved for God and family, but it's played all through high school. And I just remember this field in Clarksville, Tennessee, behind an elementary school where we played our games, and it was just me and the 12 or 13 other guys that we just kind of all grew up playing together. We were kind of the Sandlot crew. Some of those guys, like we were doing backflips off the dugouts. We were, doing the masquerading around town, like just doing crazy things and playing baseball and just having a good time. And a lot of us were able to get to college, not through the traditional travel ball route. And so for me, I can vividly remember sitting on a bench when I was 12, and I watched the coach's kid get to go play shortstop over me. And I just remember, I'm never going to do this as a coach. I will always give the best player the position that they've earned. And I remember that as a 12-year-old. And then kind of going from there, I didn't really have a mentor in high school. So I was that wild, crazy kid that didn't, was smart enough to make straight A's, but uh, intelligent enough to know that I could get by without doing it. And, um, got in trouble in class, but nobody really sat me down ever and was just like, look, your goal is to play in college. Like, why don't you just sit down, shut your mouth, and do what you're supposed to do, and colleges will come knocking. So I mean, I had to chase the dream a little bit harder than some guys, and um, sat out of my freshman year of college. And I tell my students, I said, your teacher had a 0.7 GPA his first year of college. He failed out of college, and they're like, "Are you allowed to be standing here? Like, I feel like I'm smarter than you."
How'd you
Uh,
get certified? Yeah.
Right. Like, that just, did you open up a Cracker Jack box and there's a teaching certificate in there? It's like, maybe. But from there, um, and my parents were like, look, cool. Your turn. You get to pay for everything, and you want to go chase your dream. It's all on you now. So, I cleaned carpets from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and saved up enough money to go to junior college, and realized that I was good and thought I was good until some guy hit a changeup that I spiked into the ground. Vladimir Guerrero did over the center field fence. And I don't know what to do, man. Like, how do I threw a changeup in the dirt and he cricketed the ball out. Like, I don't know what to do now. So, took a while for me to kind of find some confidence on the mound. And then I moved out to Arkansas, went to Christian college out there, and then ended up going to a school in South Dakota for my last 2 years. And tell everybody, my junior year we went 3-37, and then my senior year we went 28-28 and got to play in the World Series. So we get to play in the opening round. So I don't want to, make it seem like it's more than it was. But my senior year, I had guys, like, we built a culture. The seniors, there are four of us. We kind of came together, and it's like, we're just not going to do this anymore. Like, we're not going to lose. And we're going to build a culture. And we had mandatory dinners, team dinners, and it was 2 hours. Nobody else was allowed, and everybody brought something, and we just hung out for 2 hours. We did everything together. We went everywhere. We'll just say we went everywhere together, and we did everything together, and it really translated on the field. I had a pretty good senior year, and it got to the point where I was, as a pitcher, like, I would throw a pitch, and the guy would hit it, and I knew where it was going. I knew who was playing there, and I had the utmost confidence in them to make the play. And so I legitimately was, as the ball would get hit, I would look to make sure I didn't need to go back up a position, and then I would just start walking around the mound, and just wait for the ball to come to me from third base. So that's kind of where my love for the game has grown, is between that, and then I played in a summer ball league. It really wasn't a league. It was I lived in a town in Nebraska my junior year and senior year in the summers, 190 people, and every town had a town team. And Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, we played different towns, and people backed up to the fences with couches in their truck, and the whole town shut down. Like, multiple towns shut down, and they just came out to the ball field and they watched, and it was a community event. And that's where my love for baseball blossomed. I Why not Nebraska versus Crofton, Nebraska? There's a 4th of July game that I was pitching in. There are 2,000 people there, and they weren't there to see me. Big old fireworks show. But that night I gave up 2 home runs to an accountant, which really humbles you. So, but it's Leesburg reminds me of when I played in Nebraska, in that it's a small town feel in kind of a big city, and it's a place that the community wants the community loves its high school sports. Um, and it's a place where if we can grow the program to where I think it can be, um, it's a place where, I want it to be like Friday Night Lights where the town shuts down and everybody comes out and watches it. There's Pat Thomas can fit 2,000 people. Well, I want to see if we can't pack the pad every night. Um, it's bringing in these grand visions of grandeur, but also being realistic about them and knowing that those are absolutely attainable goals in Leesburg. And so I'm so excited about Leesburg, and I'm excited for the players. It's been a struggle for a while, and it's been rough, but we're not worried about the past. We're embracing the history of baseball there, but we're also not worried about it. We're transitioning to the future.
Well, I think that's right when you were talking about. First of all, I would say describing the town coming out in Nebraska. I mean, that sounds like something out of a movie, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's what you mentioned about being in Leesburg, and I don't know if you know this, but I'm associated with the Squeeze in the Summer Collegiate League. So I've gone to games in Leesburg for the Summer League games,
Mm-hmm.
and at Pat Thomas Stadium, which is you could find a couple. I wrote a history of Pat Thomas Stadium on our website,
Yeah.
but they and I've had we had Tyler Brandenburg on too, but if you that stadium is just so unique and so such a special asset that you have there. And those folks pour out in the summer to come watch the college team. And so you have a real opportunity as a high school program to do the same. And I think you're right about Leesburg as a town. It's like Leesburg is not Orlando. It's not the Villages. It's almost in the Villages, but it's
Yeah.
kind of bleeding in a little bit. But
They're creeping in. We're trying to keep them out.
yeah, exactly. But you do have that opportunity because you have those folks up there and you have the community around Leesburg, and it's got its own identity. So
Mm.
I think there is a great opportunity for high school athletics, and I know they support their teams. But just that asset in the history of the stadium, it's got to be really cool for just you to coach there, the players to play there, because there's not a lot of high school high school teams playing at ballparks like that.
Yeah. Well, when I got the job, some of my first meetings, well, my first meeting after I got the job was with a couple of alumni who are pretty invested in the program, and I got to meet some of the people from the Lightning. I met with Tyler Brandenburg a few times. Met with I'm sure Stats.
Oh yeah, they
Everybody,
got a whole.
yeah,
Well, you're so unique about that team
yeah,
is they've got it's owned by the community partnership, so they're independent. They're independently owned from the league.
right.
So they have the community is invested fully in the team and in the whole baseball experience there. So yeah, tapping into that is huge.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that the Lightning does that we are gonna try to do is they don't charge admission.
Oh yeah,
They
yeah, that's true.
pass the hat, and I think it'd be really cool if we did the same thing. So we're gonna have a couple of fan appreciation nights
Yep.
where we're gonna pass the hat as well. And my my thought process is we'll make more money doing that, and it's not about the money.
Well, the
I mean,
school needs, the school
it
relies
is what it
on
is.
money for the
Right,
athletic program.
right.
So,
I mean, I'm not a money guy, right? Like as long as we have as much as we need, like that's why my wife, she does the budget and I don't. So we're not living in
well,
a refrigerator box.
we all know what high school baseball coaches get paid, so we know you're not doing it for the money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, no, no. I actually had a parent text me today, and he was like, it's baseball season. I'm so excited. You better not be going anywhere. I said, unless somebody, it's a huge like big time offer that people would look at me and be like, you better take this. Like, you know what I mean? Said,
Right, right.
we're looking to buy land in Leesburg, man. We're looking to settle down in Leesburg and be there for a while.
Yep.
And it's the community. It's not, because I was an assistant coach at Lake Minneola last year.
Yeah.
We were one game away from playing Vieira in the region finals, and I think we had a good chance to beat Vieira and go play in the state tournament in Final Four. So
Yeah.
going from having a guy throwing 92 to 94 lefty UCF commit and Brady Montrell, and having four other guys 88 plus from the right side, to Leesburg, where I mean that's not us, you know. Lake Minneola won the same amount of games last year as Leesburg did the previous 5 years. So on paper, like it it didn't make sense. But when you started diving into the community, you started diving into the facilities, you started diving into the school itself. Leesburg gets a bad rap for no reason at all. And that's one thing that I want to change is Leesburg's not a bad school. Leesburg is an incredible school with incredible people, incredible staff. Miss Pyatt's coming in there and she is doing an amazing job. And as more people buy into her vision, the school itself will change. And one of the things that I love is I have the freedom as a coach, within the necessary means to be able to affect change. And that's one thing that when I came in, I said, we're going to establish a culture. We're going to establish a culture where these kids want to be here. Not they have to be here. They want to be here. And the guys just walked into the clubhouse for the first time today. I kicked them out in December. I said they weren't allowed to be in there. They came in and they were just, man, the sounds, the hoots and the hollers and the smiles and the big eyes, just they missed it. And we had a conversation about mental reps and how they went 3-18 last year. And once again, like I reference it because my hope is that teams come to play us and they think, it's just Leesburg. We're just going to walk in. They're terrible. They're awful. And then all of a sudden, oh, shoot, they just put a 5 spot on us in the first inning. Like, crap, we're going to have to, we got to scratch and claw back out of this. And, teams are going to overlook us. And that's perfectly fine because we're going to come out and we're not going to play them. We're going to play our game and we're going to play for each other and we're going to outwork everybody. My goal is to outwork everybody in the state. And we're going to get after it and we're going to play for the name on the chest. We're going to play for the L and we're going to create an environment where people want to be there. You see your neighbor at the mailbox. Hey man, did you see what they did? I was out there. We just got a former alumni. His dad is coming out. He's going to be our announcer. And when I was talking to him, I said, look, we have one of the best facilities in the state. We have some of the best food that's cooked in the state. If you haven't had any of Miss Kim's food, by golly, you need to get in there and do it. Our mayor comes out and he works in the concession stand. Like that's how invested our community is. We're going to come out. You're going to watch some really good baseball. The kids, the elementary kids, they're going to run the bases in the 4th inning. Every home game is going to be scripted. It's salute to service night. It's spirit night where everybody comes out from their schools. We have a first responders night. We have a teacher appreciation night. We're going to have an FCA night where we're going to have an 8th inning. Hopefully we don't have an 8th inning that night in the actual game, but we're bringing the community in. And then this announcer, he was like, I just want you to know, I'm kind of a mix between a baseball announcer and a WWE announcer. And I was like, perfect. Let's go. You're going to get good food, good facilities, good baseball, and you're going to be entertained. You're going to want to come back. So that's where building the excitement for the community to be able to come out and have something to be proud of. Little kids are going to want to be there wearing the jersey, and we're invested in the community. We went and read to all 4 elementary schools in Leesburg. We're starting a feeder program. We are doing things to where kids want to wear this gear. And the pride doesn't come when they make the team in the spring. The pride comes whenever they start wearing the Leesburg gear at 5, 6, 7 years old. Like, that's what we're trying to instill. I'm trying to coach some of these kids. And that's what I want, man. I want to, in 30 years, I want to be here. Like, in 10 years, I want to be nationally ranked. In 5 years, I want to be competing for a state tournament. Like, I don't set these tiny goals. Like, we're either, reaching for the stars, that statement. We're gonna land somewhere up there, and my kids are gonna be competing with the highest level of kids in the state, because that's how hard we're gonna work. Doesn't matter the talent level, we're gonna outwork you, and we're gonna mentally be tougher than you. So it just it's a lunch pail mentality, man. In a lunch pail community.
Well, I'll say this. You mentioned in the beginning on Babe Ruth baseball over travel ball. Brian knows how I feel when it comes to rec ball over, competitive. And not to say rec ball is not competitive, because I've had competitive teams in rec ball. But that mindset, Brian knows how I feel about the Sandlot baseball. I do Sandlot games whenever I can. I didn't do one this Christmas. It was a little. I had kids calling me, "Hey, coach, we're gonna do Sandlot," and I'm sorry I didn't have any time this year, but it's just something they look forward to. So I guess my advice to you is something you can try is with the younger kids. Take your team out with the younger kids and let them just enjoy it together, and do Sandlot with the older kids, where you just sit back and you let
Mm-hmm.
your team take over, and that'll build the community, and that'll build the kids will start to look up to them, and then they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna want to come to the games because they want to see, hey, I know Johnny was with me at the field, and Johnny plays on a high school team, and then they're gonna want to be like Johnny and play on the high school team when they're ready. So that, to me, that's how you
Mm-hmm.
build your mindset of the whole Sandlot, your experience with that, and how you loved it. And you love the small, like I'm from the big city. I'm from New York, but I live in Cape Coral, and it's somewhat of a city, somewhat small feel, but say like I like the small town feel, because you really
Mm-hmm.
get the real people to come out, and you get the people to really come together as a community and build it. So I think that having the young kids like that, they're excited, and you bring the high school kids together, it'll just like it'll grow to something that you know on its own, and to be
Mm-hmm.
something amazing.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. We're trying to get into the little leagues, and eventually what I want is, not want, but hope for, is our kids in the fall. We run a little league program, or we help out either umpiring or coaching in the little league system. And um, I've always thought it would be cool for our kids to go and coach in the little leagues, and pair a senior and a freshman and a sophomore and a junior, and little Johnny and little Buddy are going to play against Buddy Joe and his, and now it's like I got to teach my players the fundamentals, because now I'm competing against my teammates. So there's a little bit of a pride aspect in it, a little bit of a peer pressure for my kids to play a little bit better than their kids. So I got to make sure I can coach better. And in doing that, now they learn the game because they're teaching it.
Mm.
So,
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, that is I'm sure that'd be a little bit of a time constraint for the kids, but very cool idea. Anything that you guys are both right. Anything that brings the kids together, connects the youngers with the olders,
mhm.
and it'll help build that culture that you're looking for in Leesburg and the community, and kids are going to feel like, and all ages are going to feel like they're a part of it. Um, so the spring season's coming up fast, right?
Yeah.
You got tryouts coming up. I mean, I just learned this, that the schedule's been moved up for high school baseball. So you're gonna have a team already in about a week or so.
We'll have
Um,
tryouts next Monday and Tuesday.
yeah. So by the middle of next week, you'll end up having a team ready to go. What and you mentioned last year of you guys being 3-18, so you're taking over a brand new team with a new philosophy and a new approach. what's the schedule look like for you this year, and what are your sort of your ambitions? You've shared some of them, but what are your expectations for the spring season?
So, schedule is competitive. Looking at it, kind of last year, the team, they weren't a bad team. They just lacked some confidence. So came in, our second, my second conversation that I had was with uh, Josh Boyer, who is the weightlifting coach for Leesburg, and they have won back to back to back state championships. So my conversation with him was, "Can you work lift the team during school?" And he was like, "Absolutely, I would love to." So fourth period since August. When do we start school? August
Yeah,
12th.
August 10th, August 12th. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. They've been lifting 5 days a week. Every day we're in school. Uh, so much so that when we were out of school for Thanksgiving break, they were all like, "Hey, Coach Boyer, like, can you give us some workouts that we can do at home? Like, what do I need to do?" Uh, so that's another aspect of tying in, creating another piece of the culture. So we wanted to build confidence. I want them to walk by the mirror and be like, "Oh, hey," start bucking up to the mirror and like showing off the muscles in the mirror and building some
Right.
confidence. And then, yeah, I try to avoid mirrors as much as possible. um, but uh, then teach them the game, right? I'm gonna rep you until you figure out how to do this. Now you're gonna be strong. Now you're gonna know how to play baseball. Now all I have to do is fill out a lineup and roll the ball out. Let's just go play. Because
Right.
you know what happens when you get in that mindset, right? So look, putting the schedule together. I think we have a realistic chance in 16 to 18 games in our schedule. Somebody told me if we go 500, they'll throw a parade, and I just laughed and I said, "If we go 500, I'm not having a good year." Um, so I think realistically, 16 games would be uh, about where I think we should be. Um, we've got a tough first 3 or 4 games we open up. Preseason we're playing Eustis and Apopka, and then we're gonna roll right into Umatilla, who is one of the top teams in the state. Tanner's doing a phenomenal job over there. And then we've got Eastridge, and then we play Umatilla at our first home game. And then we jump into University out of Orlando, and then I believe it's Lake Weir. So our first 3 games, I told my coaching staff that I wanted to win. I wanted to go 1-2 the first 3 games. Being realistic, I think we have a chance in all 3 of those games. We played Umatilla in the fall. The first game we played them, we held them scoreless through 5 innings. So for me, that was a big win. I think they kind of shrugged us off as Leesburg. The second game they put it to us, but they I don't know, man. I think we can give Tanner and the Bulldogs a run for their money. I just want to be competitive, right? Because when you can be competitive with a good program, then you're doing something right.
Do you have any the returning? I know every year they have to try out and stuff, but do you have any kids that you're looking at that probably play college baseball at that level? What are you having any seniors
Um,
returning?
we have. Oh, I'm sorry.
You
Sorry
good?
about that. I'm just breaking up a little bit.
You're good.
We
Um,
hear you fine.
sorry, my internet is. You got me?
Yep, you're there.
Okay. Um, so some college ball kids. We have 3 kids that working on getting to the next level. Some it's a different pace, and they need to play some more. They need some more reps. But these are some kids that I think can be successful in college. Trying to figure out where the best fit for them is. I tell them realistically, like, you need to be able to go anywhere in the country and be ready to do that, because that might be what it is. And so Dane Jones, he's going to play third base, possibly play third base for us. This is all theoretical and hypothetical based on our tryouts and all that fun
Sure.
stuff. But Dane's put in a lot of work at third. We've got some guys that are going to compete with him over there. Trevor Long, Jaden Lane may play over there. Jaden's a sophomore. Nate Smart is a pretty big lefty, power arm, power bat. He's got some bat speed, who can make you nervous as a pitcher. Then another senior is Brennan Price, the outfielder, who we just got to get him some more reps, but he's a pretty stocky kid. He's six. I think he's 6 foot 6'1". He's probably going to be mad at me. We'll say he's 6'2". How about that? Make him feel better. About 220, and he's pretty solid. He's got decent speed, but he's got some real power, and he's just he's coming into figuring out how to use it. So as a coach, it's one of those, like, they hit a ball and they turn around after like, hey, why don't you do this, and make a few corrections. They hit a ball and they turn around, their eyes are just this big, and you're like, I have a saying that I say all the time whenever kids do something and I tell them to do. I was like, oh, that's weird. So
what is your general philosophy in coaching? You got coaches that, like, the offensive coach, so he's gonna be more like, drive the ball in the gap. You have other coaches that do the old school. They like the small ball, bunting, stealing. Other coaches more defensive side, so they're gonna get the power arms and making sure that they're shutting everybody down, and they may not score a lot, but they're not gonna let the other team score. So, what is your philosophy? What type of team do you like to build?
I am a pitching and defensive guy, along with the small ball stuff. But I also know that a coach's philosophy probably should change based on his players. So we have a very good mix of guys that can drive the ball in the gap and guys that can play small ball. I tell the guys, like, you're not gonna make the lineup if you can't bunt a baseball. Plain and simple, because we may not use it but one time, but the time that I need to use it, you better know how to do it. So, we're going to play small ball. We're going to move guys over. We're going to, create havoc on the bases. But whenever we flip over to the defensive side, we're going to manage the chaos. We're going to manage the first pitch strikes. We're going to attack the zone. We're going to hold runners close. We're going to keep guys in out of scoring position. We're going to make the routine plays routinely. We're going to try to chase perfection. So I know that it's impossible to be perfect, and there's one guy that was, but we're not gonna settle. It's I think a lot of the battle is mental, and I am putting guys in. We as a staff are putting guys in situations where they have to grow mentally. We're doing chaotic rundown drills where we got a guy that we're in a rundown from third and home, and then all of a sudden we tag him out, and the next guy breaks from second. We got to get him in a rundown. Now we got to watch the guy at first, and they failed so many times at this during the fall because they'd never experienced it. And it was, I need you to learn. I need you to not let the situation get here. When it gets here, step back, control what you can control, and go play ball. And on defense, just get an out, because one out is better than no outs. Yeah. But to your point, man, and My wife yells at me. I talk too much. I just get excited, man. I'm so
No,
excited about this season.
no, it's all
No,
good. We love baseball enough that we get excited too. It's just that, if I missed the coaching myself. I didn't coach high school. I just felt like I couldn't deal with that age group. I stopped at 13, 14, 15. I was like, all right, I'm done. Like you guys go to
Yeah,
high school and learn something different up there. But it's a different thing. Just when I hear kids now in college, hey coach, how you doing? I feel like I did something. I must have did something right because they still call me coach. They still
yeah,
have that respect level. So it's the game is an amazing game. People don't realize
mhm.
it. Like we're excited. Like it's right around the corner. Another month, we're right back at it again.
Oh yeah,
I wanted to say one thing on the kids. I think kids miss the mark when it comes to the small ball aspect because everyone's, the travel ball thing always talks about, get the big hit, be the star, be the star, be the star. That sometimes giving yourself up for the team sometimes matters more than trying to hit a home
Mhm.
run and striking out and missing the opportunity to bunt. And I think so many kids, like, when I said the 13, 15-year-old age is, I put the bunt sign, they swing away. And I'm like,
Yeah,
why'd you swing away? Well, because I knew I can get a hit. I'm like, that wasn't the point. I needed to move the runoff. So now we're first and second, where we could have been maybe the other guy comes up and we can be guy second base. We score a run. So you got to think about the team and not yourself. And I think too many kids miss that now because they're thinking about themselves only.
yeah, and that's where, uh, in a perfect world, you go to travel ball and you learn how to be the best individual possible, and you come play high school and you learn how to be a role player. You learn your position on the team because, um, yes, the better you get, the better the team gets. But at the same time, like you said, um, I think I think there's a culture to that. If and by the way, you want to lose, you don't want to watch, or if you want to watch a coach lose his ever loving mind, miss a sign,
Mhm. Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
oh my goodness. Um, but if we're spending that time together, and I understand baseball, and you get on first, I want you to be on second. I want you to be in scoring position because I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about David coming up behind me, who's going to drive you in. And I've done my job. I'm going to get more high fives about bunting you over to second than David might get from driving you in.
Mhm.
So it's that sacrifice. It's that culture thing, like the we before me mentality of I'm going to do whatever it takes to win this game. Whatever I have to do. If that means I'm going to pinch run, that means, coach, I'm charting. Coach, their signs are this. Hey, coach, he's getting in a rhythm. He's thrown a curveball on the second pitch for the last four batters. Hey, coach, their pitcher, he wiggles on his fastball. He's a reverse tip guy. Hey, coach, he's a head guy. He's a leg guy. He's whatever. Like, that's my job today, and I'm gonna do it to the best of my ability. And I'm gonna write all of our stuff. We're gonna have a whiteboard at each game, and we're gonna chart way more than we should. But um, I want to be able to call colleges and say, "Hey, I've got a guy that is going to help you." You know, and specifically for these seniors, it's going to be easier for me to call colleges that are in a rebuild and say, "Hey, look, you guys are trying to rebuild your program. I've got kids that have already rebuilt a program and were successful their last year doing it. They know how to rebuild it. They know what it takes. These are guys that are going to be must-haves on your roster, and give the kids the opportunity to either run with it, or sometimes they're not ready for it. But that's not my job to make. It's my job to hopefully provide them with an opportunity.
And one last thing, and I believe the small ball teams are going to be very successful because they're going to learn how to play together as a unit and give up for each other and sacrifice for each other. And when they're in a situation where you need to get that one run, it's going to come faster than someone just trying to gap it or hit it over the fence. Or they're going to be able to face adversity better. All my teams were small
Mm-hmm.
ball, and we always were successful because everyone played a part in the game somehow or another.
Mm-hmm.
So I can one day coach high
He's
school baseball. I just don't have the time.
We got to get David the time. We got to get David the time over there because
yeah, you come up to Leesburg and
you know he's itching to do it. Um,
yeah, it sounds like why don't you hey just come visit Pat Thomas and you might not ever leave.
Yeah, my wife may leave me.
No, you can come too.
Well, she's not a bit.
Our wives can hang out.
She's a baseball mom when it comes to the boys playing baseball. Now that they're not, now my youngest is in high school now. My oldest is in college. He's not playing anymore, but in college. So I actually got called. So Brian got called the other day to coach, to come in and coach rec ball. They really need a good coach. They said, this is what they're saying. I'm not saying about me, and I'm like, yeah, no, my wife's not going to cut it. Nah. Unless
just tell him you need a signing bonus.
Unless you're paying
Yeah.
me, or my son's playing, yeah, it's not happening for a while. I have to wait for my grandkids. So
That's right.
Yeah.
One other thing I noted, and I'm going to wrap up here in a minute, but you mentioned it's the small ball, but also what you said about defense and limiting mistakes. Like most games, if you really watch them, even at the professional level, so many games are decided on one mistake here or there, right? So
Yeah.
that's a huge aspect that we don't even really think about. We think about the big hit, we think about the strikeout.
Right.
But we don't think about the little mistakes that were made, or the ball that was thrown at the wrong time or to the wrong place, or all those little things that add up to, was a run scored against you, right? So
Right.
I think that's
It's
a huge aspect.
the freebie battle. Stephen Crabtree, I got a chance to coach with him last year at Lake Mineola under Kerry Wheatro, and he coached at Florida Southern for a while and at Rollins, and he charted freebies. Every single freebie that happened during the game, whether it was a pass ball or a wild pitch or whatever, he was charting it. And I mean, the games that we lost the freebie battle, we didn't win.
Yeah,
The innings
it's
that
huge.
we lost the freebie battles, yeah, and it's first pitch strikes. It's making the routine plays. It's knowing where to throw the ball. It's bunting a baseball. It's blocking the ball behind the plate. Like, a lot of guys are like, oh, well, my catcher's got a 1-6 pop time. Like, cool, but he can't block a ball to save his life. He's a Swiss cheese of a catcher, man. So, like, give me a guy with a 2-2 pop time that no baseball has passed him in 5 years. Like, done. I'll
Right.
take that guy.
Absolutely. And the second thing
So,
that you said is that you got your guys in the weight room. And I think that's undervalued, particularly in baseball, because, football coaches are going to have their kids in the weight room. But the fact that you have your kids in the weight room getting stronger is a big advantage. And you may see some real impact in the spring from that, right? Because guys are going to be able to muscle out some more things. They're going to be able to move they're going to have more strength in different areas that they didn't have before. And baseball players, a lot of them, I even see these kids at the high school level, they're kind of adverse to lifting. So the fact that you got your guys doing it, I think is huge.
yeah, and that's something that we will continue. We will lift 5 days a week through May. So we're going to be lifting all season, and that's, you see a lot of teams who lift in the fall, and all right, we're ready for the season, but now we can't lift in the season because we don't have time. Well, no, you just need to make time, and it's workload management, and that's one thing that Coach Boyer and I have talked about. I try to be hands off. Like, I did a really bad job of micromanaging my first year because, first year as head coach, you're like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, okay. But are you sure that's the best way to do it? Oh, okay. Well, I do it this way. And it's just leave me alone. Like, let me do my job. Like, you hired
Right.
me for a reason. And that's what one of my buddies just turned around and yelled at me, like, you hired me to coach. Can I coach? And I was like, I'm really sorry. Like, and that was kind of like an eye opener for me. Like, all right, step back, let your guys do your job, because how many times have I been micromanaged and I was frustrated about it? So, I try to just check in with Coach Boyer, like, hey, how they doing? He was like, when the season comes, I just need to know who's pitching when. so that we can, so I can work the plans out, big time load management. So.
No, it's great. That's great. Well, Seth, we are excited. We were very happy to learn about your background and what you bring into the table here in Leesburg. We're excited for you to launch your first official. Well, I know the fall's kind of an unofficial season, but the first official spring baseball season with Leesburg, and we're excited to hear about some of the things you guys are doing promotionally too with the high school, and we wish you a lot of success in that.
I appreciate that. And I'll say this, if anybody's listening, the millions of people that are listening to this podcast, they need to check into our Instagram page. That's where all of our updates will come from. So, the millions of
Perfect.
followers, I appreciate you.
No,
We'll be
definitely.
sharing
What's
that
up,
out.
Leesburg? What's up, Leesburg? That's the big deal.
Well,
Perfect.
we'll definitely share it
Perfect.
out. And for everyone that's watching this or listening, if you want to watch this episode, you got to go to YouTube. You got to subscribe to get all the other episodes that we have there. There's 104 other amazing episodes with amazing people, just like Seth, with their own journey. It's not about me and Brian. This is about us sharing the journey of other people in the game. So just press subscribe. I'm sure if you're scrolling through YouTube, you see 100 bunch of other videos. You're gonna want to see this one. So help us grow the page and help us get more people to come out and hear these amazing stories. So that this way, if you live in the Leesburg area and you're watching this, season starts, you gotta show up to the stadium. You gotta show up to the games. So
That's right. Go out, support the team. Good luck this season, Seth, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, David.
no
You
problem.
bet. This was episode 105 of the Legends on Deck podcast.